Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this live stream. I hope everybody is really doing well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. And we are going into the weekend stream. And also we are very close to the February month closing as well. So, as we discussed yesterday about on the stream as to what should be expecting for, Bitcoin as well as the market. I mean, as I mentioned yesterday as well, I mean, this is the levels for Bitcoin. We are still ranging actually. And if you just look at from the Bitcoin perspective, I consider this zone that we are having right now is like, it's more of a, discount zone, and the zone that we have here, it's kind of, a premium zone that we have here. So that's like basically this is what we are having right now. So till we are just hovering at the discount zone and we are just holding it very nicely. Now that, if you look at from the oscillator perspective, when we dipped on Bitcoin around, 50,593, yes, the RSI, EMA, and BB were turned green. Actually, that was an indication on this candle that there is a possibility that the price might try to, reverse from here. And there is a good chance that we are, at least going to see some sort of a nice small move, that maybe can even give you like a $500 to $600 move that you can get probably for your prop challenges or prop account. Overall, we have still not turned ourselves completely bullish, but the three things that were really good over here is that RSI, RSI, EMA were flipped, BB was green, as well as the RSI was green as well, which means that RSI was still under 50 and it was giving a good opportunity. The only problem that we had here at this point is that the price, the EMA were not flipped, so the blue EMA was under the red EMA. So we really need that blue EMA to start crossing or crawling above the red one, and once that happens, in my view, I think overall 80% of the as you can see, out of 5, the 4 were green at that point of time. And even at this point, I will say that the 4 signals are looking good. RSI EMA, RSI BB, RSI 50 as well, and price EMA price have also flipped the EMA, the blue line, which is still, overall it looks good to me. This is the case that probably we might be looking for on Bitcoin, that we are just holding the levels, the lows, and that's like a 3-tap setup that we are having it. So you got a perfect 3-tap setup. You had a support, and then you deviated, you took all the liquidity, and the price retested back those levels to confirm that this level is a strong support. So basically I think in next probably maybe next 2 1-hour candles, in my view, we will be able to see that what Bitcoin is about to do. Once Bitcoin flips the 51,140 levels on 1-hour time frame, I see Bitcoin pumping back to 52,000, and later it's going to pump it over the weekend. I might see a nice push on Bitcoin towards $54,000 as well. So that is where the things can get really interesting. Also the alts that are looking good over here and might look for a bounce would be like a Link. Of course, Link is looking good. We're going to look for those alts in case if Bitcoin holds here. Even Ethereum is trying to flip the levels. LDO is also looking good, and it's just trying to flip it here as well, in my view. So LDO is also definitely looking great. Talking about few of the alts, I personally feel that once Bitcoin probably flips that levels, even the EMA turns green as well, I do think that Bitcoin can give us that good bounce on 1-hour time frame, ladies and gentlemen. We really need not to be bearish. Just understand this is like a discount zone, so you don't need to be bearish on the discount zone, and this is like a premium zone, so you never have to be bullish on the premium zone. Basically that's where the zone where you need to offload your bags, you sell it, and this is the discount zone where you fill your bags, you buy it actually. And that's exactly how the things work. This discount zone will be treated as a premium zone only and only when the price starts flipping under this level as a strong resistance actually. So right now it's holding very nicely, and every oscillators are turning green on 1-hour time frame. If you look at the 15 minutes time frame, I think the 15 minutes time frame itself is looking good, and Still one more thing, I mean, everything was green. If you see here, when the price retested, EMA green, BB green, then you had the RSI and the 50 was green as well. I took some, I mean, basically this is the levels where on the 15 minutes time frame, what you would like to see is that definitely, it's not going to help you with a good risk reward, but it's going to help you a lot when you're playing with the prop funds and prop challenges to make you like 1 to 2% gains, easy peasy. And that's where, this is going to add more and more confluence. These oscillators are going to really helpful. It's a very simple oscillator, guys. Probably you might be using it in day in and out, manually and all that stuff, but it's a very, very helpful in my view. In fact, our signals are also really good on 15 minutes as well as 1 hour time frame. I personally haven't tested any signals other than 15 minutes or 1 hour's time frame, but there's always a scope of improvising it. So we will definitely gonna keep on working to improvise our signals so that you guys can make good money out of those signals actually. Now talking about so Bitcoin, our final thing is if Bitcoin flips the EMA of 51,140 at this point on 1 hour time frame, we need 2 consecutive close above that levels, because we haven't seen 2 consecutive close above this EMA, I would say, since yesterday and almost like 24 hours now. So we haven't seen 24 hours we are flipping that EMA like with 2 consecutive close. Now that is something we really want to see. Once we start getting acceptance above this, I think the price is likely going to soar back up, because what is going to happen eventually, this is going to be like, I'm not sure if it's going to literally go to here, because the move that I see so far is clearly that this is some sort of a this is a B wave, and we are doing 5 waves actually, which is going to be like this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now that's what I think it is, but nevertheless, probably the worst case scenario would be if we don't flip it, we keep on rejecting it, we might see on the weekend something like this, a scam wick down towards 50,150 to $50,000, because that's where we will be having a nice 3 drive support. But then it also gives you a big problem. Why? Because the move here, this was an end of something, and then you got an impulsive move, again you got an impulsive move, and then you got a 5 waves on an upside, which clearly indicates that this is like an irregular flat of something, and then probably this is just the beginning of a downside, bigger downside move of like wave 1, 2, and maybe no PO3, and just keeps on doing something like this to go towards $47,000 as well. There's always a possibility. I mean, 49,054 is the levels I would personally like to see Bitcoin bouncing from those levels, just in case if we go something like this actually. So for now, I think definitely we need to wait and watch. A lot of people ask me where too long, what too long. I do just say, guys, just go through this live stream once. Everything explained it to you in details. The levels, you need to watch the levels. Flip in the case in a very, what do you mean by flip? A flip is nothing but it means that where the price is getting acceptance above that levels. When you get an acceptance above those levels, clearly indicates that yes, the bulls are in control, price got accepted, and we should be looking for more and more upside. That's what the flip actually means. Similarly for the downside as well. So flip is important, guys. Don't always look for breakout. A breakout can be a fake out, so you need a flip. Once you get the flip, you simply go in and you're going to make big actually with a good risk reward. So that's what the plan I have for Bitcoin at this point. Similarly, we have a good plan for ETH as well. ETH is trying to flip here, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see here, ETH is trying to literally flip it. the equilibrium of the range, and which is a really good sign for us, because if we do happen to get, we already got one candle close on Ethereum. If we do happen to get another candle close on Ethereum, it's going to be good. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, everything looks green actually, except the BB, but overall things look good actually on ETH. So let's say if ETH also closes this 1 hour candle above, which is going to happen in next 26 minutes. If we are going to close above an equilibrium of 2952.5, amazing it would be, or 2952.6, it would be very, very nice for ETH. And I think then probably we should be looking to long ETH with a very tight stop loss on the 2930, and you should be aiming to ride for the range highs, and maybe it can even look for a breakout. Because if you look at from the perspective of 4 hours time frame on ETH, what you will notice here is that ETH might be doing a very nice irregular expanded flat, because if you look at here, you got a very nice breakout from this ABC structure. So hold on, perfect. So you see we got a very nice ABC breakout from this structure over here. We got a breakout, flip, and the price soar like this. I think we are more or less, in this situation, we are just accumulating. This is like a wave 2 actually. And if we hold here, I think the price is going to soar up to 3120 and maybe even 3320 over a weekend. So that's what ETH can actually do actually. But we really need to hold that 2952.6. That's a very good levels. Ideally, we haven't closed 2 consecutive candle above these levels in this whole range, if you see here. But if we do happen to get this closure as well, I think the ETH is overall can be a nice scalp over the weekend, just to risk it up over here. Looking at the 4 hours time frame, at this point, the RSI is under EMA, so we need that 4 hour as well to flip. RSI BB is neutral, EMA flip is good. Price have also flipped EMA, which is good, and RSI is red, which means that RSI is above 50 actually, which is a good sign actually, that the price is still bullish. But basically which can also mean that the trend is likely going to continue, but we really need the RSI to flip above the EMA for the continuations to happen. So we can't probably simply just keep on pumping without price flipping. You see, even on this breakout, when RSI, even though the RSI was red, which means that RSI 50 was red, the last line over here, as you can see, was red, means that RSI even at that point of time was bullish, it was above 50. But if you see here, RSI EMA was not. So when the price break out and when it turns green, on this candle it turned green. When it turned green, we got a nice move from here to 2821 to 3032, almost close to $200 move that we got on Ethereum. So if you really want to play it very safely, we'll just have this indicator on 4 hours time frame and wait for the RSI EMA, RSI BB, EMA flip, price EMF flip to turn green, and when that happens, you get a nasty move on an upside, which is going to be very, very good for your scalps and probably for a day trading as well. So overall, I think till ETH is above 2952, I think ETH is likely going to continue on the upside. We really need that 2 consecutive close. So let's see how this candle closes as well. If we close, good. If we don't, we have to probably wait for more actually confirmation. Looking for a few of the alts that I personally like it, but before that, let's go also check the USDT DOM. Overall, guys, USDT DOM on the daily time frame, if you see here, yesterday, how did we close the USDT DOM? Yesterday, if we see For the first time, I am seeing that RSI EMA, not only RSI EMA is turning green, RSI BB is also turning green, and RSI 50 is green, which is a very, very good sign for, the USD DOM. And for the very first time, I am seeing that USD DOM has formed a 3 white soldier candle formation on the daily time frame. I've never seen at the bottom of this thing. You see here the 3 white soldiers and also bullish engulfing candle as well over here. See, on the daily time frame, you got one candle close, the second candle close above the first one, the third candle close way more above the second one as well. So this is like a very interesting, 3 white soldier candles. RSI EMA is turning bullish, is already turned bullish. RSI BB turned bullish, RSI 50 turned bullish. So basically, what is the thing that is holding, the USD dominance back for pumping? The only thing that is holding back is that 5.24%, which is like the EMA resistance that we have here. Once price starts flipping that 5.24% as well, I think the USD dominance is then probably going to give us a very big move on an upside. The way we have seen this dump, actually, the way we have seen the dump, it's to me like a very interesting, bullish checkmate formation is happening at this point. We might probably do something like this, but the bullish checkmate is going to be very interesting. Once we break out, it's going to do something like this towards 5.9, and maybe it just goes for a breakout to 6.2% as well. So this is what the USD dominance can do, because the daily is definitely not looking bad over here, and daily is giving me 2 signals at this point. So I would say 3 signals. The first signal is that you have a bullish engulfing candle on the daily. The second signal is you have a 3 white soldier formation, along with an engulfing candle. If you look at the historical dump that happened on the USD dominance on the daily, you have never seen a 3 white soldier formation at the bottom, So that is like a first strong sign, in my view, can be considered as a bullish reversal sort of a thing. There is a possibility that we might see a reversal. And the third important thing to keep in mind is that RSI has flipped EMA, RSI BB is bullish, and RSI 50 is still under the 50% levels, indicating that we are bullish at this point. So there is a likelihood that we can reverse. Now, just to confirm, whether at what levels RSI is at, simply we go to our RSI SR screener indicator, and as you can see here, the RSI is at 34% levels on the daily. And if you look at the support, we have a support of 16% levels on RSI. So that is the biggest support RSI ever have on the daily time frame. So in case if Bitcoin loses this range lows, a gain of 5.04%, then probably it would be bearish for Bitcoin, and we can ride it till our next levels of, as I mentioned, 4.9%, and we're going to see a pump on Bitcoin towards 54,000 based on our plan for Bitcoin. So all in all, ladies and gentlemen, what I feel at this point is that Bitcoin is still in a territory where you can't long it or you can't short it, because it is holding the discount zone. Definitely you never short the discount zone, you short it when it flips. Now, talking about the longs, if you would have caught the longs yesterday at 50,687, ride it with your stops at break even or slightly above those levels, so that in case of a flush happens, you don't get you don't make any losses. Second important thing is, for those who are not in, including myself, I am not longed anything yet. I'm still waiting for the confirmation. So we're going to wait for the 1 hour flip on Bitcoin, the EMA that I mentioned, 51,100. We're also going to wait for that H4 to turn bullish as well, so that we get more and more confluence, and then we can long it Bitcoin from there to ride it till $53,800 and $54,200. That will be a strong long at that point. Now, on the contrary, we have that USD dominance is forming an accumulation. We have a lot of bullish signs on the USD DOM as well on the daily time frame. So that is like we just need to wait for a confirmation for Bitcoin. Once Bitcoin gives us those confirmation, we will take scalps on Bitcoin. Now remember, that alts are looking good, but they looks good till Bitcoin holds the $50,600 levels. When Bitcoin start losing that levels, alts are going to literally lose it, and they are going to dump more than Bitcoin. Yes, you heard me right. They will dump very fast. They are going to probably take all the liquidity. It can be like a flush, a single 10-15% candle, and they are going to pump it back up actually. So and normally these sort of flush happens in Australia sessions. The New York session ends in midnight, and there is a difference between, there is a gap between the New York session and Asia session. So in that gap, normally this sort of dump happens actually. So if you really like to catch such sort of wicks, those are the time frames or time zones where you need to be awake, so that you can catch these sort of dumps for, like, it can give you another 15-20% move easy peasy on an upside. So at this point, guys, as I mentioned, wait for everything to flip. Once they flip, we go long. Similarly, Ethereum, as I mentioned, wait for the 15 minutes to close. Whether we are going to close above or not, we will see. And even if we get closure, would be a strong first sign that we are bullish. And if you really like to play aggressive long, yes, you can take a long, and you can have a stop loss under 2930. But if you like to have a safest long, go to the 4 hours time frame, as I mentioned, and look where and look, the RSI EMA turns green, because once that RSI EMA turns green, amazing it would be, you can long Ethereum very safely. You're going to get good risk reward when you play at that point of time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, talking about our alts, first I'm going to take link actually, as I mentioned yesterday as well, on the daily time frame on the link. So before I go to the link, I forgot one more thing. Let's also have a look on the weekly time frame as to how the USD dominance looks like. If you look at the weekly time frame, so the weekly time frame, RSI is 50, RSI 50 is under, RSI is under 50% levels, good. EMA is flipped, which is also, a good thing. As you can see here, the EMA, the price is likely, flipping the basically the EMA that we have here. But why is it flip? Yeah, because the blue is above red, which is good, which is flip, which means that the trend is not yet shifted to bearish. It is still bullish overall. RSI BB is neutral. We need to turn green for it to run back up turbo. And RSI EMA is still red, which means that RSI is still under the EMA. If you look at here, the RSI is at 30% levels, and our support, we don't have a weekly support so far, but try and understand 30% itself is a weekly RSI support, because that's like the second time in the USD dominance history we are testing, like we are doing a double bottom sort of a thing on RSI on a weekly time frame. Now if you know what I'm talking about it, just have a look here on RSI indicator. So relative strength index, RSI. So if you look here, RSI, what I'm trying to tell you on the weekly time frame is, in the history of USD DOM, this is like the second time, as I mentioned, the RSI is doing a double bottom sort of a thing. The first time we did in 2020 December over here, this is like a first time it did, and then the second time we are getting a similar levels, very similar levels, we are getting a double bottom, and RSI is slightly trying to give us a vibe that it might reverse big from those levels. Now if you also want to see where exactly the BB is, just open an RSI instead of MA type. Select the Bollinger Bands over here, guys, and ML length would be, keep it to 20, rest all things would remain same. And if you look here, the RSI BB is under the midline over here, the EMA basically, and once it starts flipping the EMA over here, I think the market is going to run back. Basically the USD dominance is literally going to run back. Now this is a very basic indicator, guys. Every time it happens, I mean, look at here, whenever the RSI BB starts flipping, as you can see, there was a huge yellow candle. Actually this was the candle, and then USD dominance starts reversing back. So whenever it happens, from when we were down like here, when the BB starts flipping back again as well over here, as you can see on these candle, we got a big impulsive move on the Bollinger on the USD DOM, and was like a big fat dump. So one thing that I have learned from a weekly RSI BB is it normally don't flip it in a single go actually. So it tested once, and then it's gonna test twice, and then it tested once, and then it's gonna test twice, and it goes. Similarly in the previously as well, it not tested once, but almost like that, and then on the second one it just pumped up. So I think the next time RSI BB goes near to the BB mid, I damn sure that we are going to see a very nasty impulsive move on a USD dominance at that point of time. So currently I think we are good. We are still very far from those things to happen, but weekly is still telling me that there is a possibility that we might be bottomed around these levels. I mean, weekly is not forming any sort of a huge, I would say, bullish candle. There is no bullish engulfing. There is nothing on the weekly candles. In fact, weekly have also lost the EMA 200. If you just open EMA 200 on the weekly time frame, you will see that we have closed under EMA 200, and now that we are going to see another weekly close under EMA 200. So basically weekly is not giving me any vibes that we are bullish on USD DOM. It suggests that we might just keep on dumping on USD DOM at this point. Yes, the RSI bearish divergence we have on the Bitcoin on the weekly time frame. So that is what we have on Bitcoin, but it is going to confirmed. If you look at here on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin, you will see that RSI is likely going to print a very interesting bearish divergence on Bitcoin, but it is not yet confirmed actually. You see over here, the OBV is the only divergence that we have. We have a concrete confirmation for the OBV. RSI is still not yet confirmed. We need to wait for this weekly closure to see whether that divergence is going to play out or not, because if we do happen to get a weekly closure for an RSI on the Bitcoin, so if you just look at the RSI again, I'm just going to add it back over here on our indicator and turn a chart to a weekly time frame. If you look at here, you will see that yes, we are getting that bearish divergence on the RSI over here, and it's like if we do happen to close this week like the way we are seeing so far, red, and we are seeing a curlness. So basically the RSI is curving down already, and if we do happen to close this way, I think and very strongly think that this bearish divergence on RSI is going to play out very nicely actually. So that's where, but we need to have that closure. We need to wait for this weekly closure on Bitcoin. Now let's also check on how the CME closed the weekly, because the CME closed already yesterday night. So let's have a look on how the RSI, or what sort of how RSI played out on the weekly as well on the CMEs. If CME is bearish, then yes, I think that the other Coinbase or other exchanges will definitely follow. So the CME is not bearish. You see the RSI, CME closed it very nicely, despite of the fact that we do have this sort of a curlness. I mean, you see a very small thing that we have started curling down, so very small indication, but not that strong to to suggest that, you know, if it would have done something like this, you know, if it would have slightly closed like this, I would have got a very good, you know, a vibe that yes, we are topped out, and you know, we might be looking for more and more downside. But CME somehow did not give me that reversal sign on, you know, the weekly time frame. So we really need the CME. We need to wait for one more weekly close on how the CME is going to do or perform. So at these levels, I think even the CME, you know, bulls literally saved Bitcoin weekly divergence this week as well. Let us see if whatever, you know, divergence indicator have to say. Yes, there is no practically divergence, bear divergence that we are seeing formed over here. Any sort of a, yeah, the RSI SR screener suggests one thing is that, you know, RSI is at 76, and that is where we have a resistance. So this is the biggest resistance we can see here on the weekly time frame on CME. So basically this candle that we got yesterday, not yesterday, the previous week candle that we got on the Bitcoin CME, it suggests that, you know, there is a sign that, you know, the RSI is topped out. It's at a big resistance, you know, of 76%. And if the next week we do happen to see a move on the downside move will be very, very much accelerated. But so far there is no proof, there is no sign that the market is going to reverse at this point. At least the CME is not saying that on the weekly time frame. Maybe the daily time frame suggests, or the 3 days chart might look probably something like that. We should be looking for downside. But look at the daily, the 3 days time frame. There is no candle. All the oscillators are green. Nothing is saying that, you know, we are bearish. Except the RSI is at resistance of 76, you know, very much extended. Now in the bull run we have seen the RSI extends, and you know, the market pumps from those things and it just keeps on going up and it accelerates the whole move. Even the 2 day is bullish. And if you look at the daily on the CME, even the daily is bullish. Basically, there is no sign that the price is turning bearish on the hard-term time frame on Bitcoin. So there is no bearish signs that we are seeing apart from the price action that we want to play actually. If you look at from, you know, 12 hours perspective, just 12 hours, yes, the RSI, EMA and BB are red, and as well as, you know, but the EMAs are still holding very nicely. So there is a small sign over here of a weakness, but that weakness already started happening when from 18th of Feb, you know, from these when we you know, made a highs of $52,700. But then from after that weakness, I mean, this is like a small weakness you are watching on the lower term time frames. On the 4 hours as well, we are seeing a weakness over here. So CME lower term time frame is showing that a possible reversal might happen, but the high term time frame is not giving me any sort of a confirmation that we are bearish at all over here. Honestly speaking, LTF, as I mentioned, 50,000 to 49,700 can be a good dip levels for Bitcoin, but I do think one more push is going to happen, which is going to clearly give us a big bear divergence on everything, and then we're going to see a big bullish divergence on USD DOM. USD dominance at this point on the daily time frame, I really don't see any bullish divergence except the OBV. In fact, even the OBV is not having divergence. If on the weekly time frame, I think there is a divergence as well. So if you look at the weekly divergence, we have an OBV bullish divergence on USD DOM. But apart from OBV, we don't have anything else at this point because RSI also swept the lows. So practically there is no bearish divergence at all. So no bullish divergence at all from the weekly time frame perspective. Looking at the 4 hours time frame on the USD DOM, I think it already played out. The 4 hour divergence, we already had a lot of divergence over here, around 5.01%, and the price have went very nicely. Currently we are having, stochastic on the 4 hour is likely having a hidden bullish divergence. So let's see how this is going to play out, the hidden divergences. But overall, I think, till the USD DOM don't flip it above 5.18%, or then I think we really need to wait for it to dump more. But I think once it flips the 5.18%, I think then USD DOM is going to be bullish, and it's going to target the sweep of the highs around 5.3%, and maybe even 5 point, going back to 5.5%, because but I don't think it's going to happen in a single pump. Actually, I think this is going to be a good opportunity for a market. Actually, why? Because when you look for a bullish checkmate pattern, guys, a bullish checkmate pattern normally forms in a range actually. So when you have a range, let's say this is how the bullish checkmate pattern forms. So when the market is dumping like this, it just accumulates like this, and then it sweep the lows, take liquidity, it also take liquidity above, and then again chop accumulation happens, and then we reverses and go up like this. But it doesn't go straight away. Of course, after this pump, it's going to give us a retest, another small accumulation, and then it goes up like this. But after this, say a liquidity grab, we definitely see a retest of this. So in my view, in case if USD dominance goes up like this, I think it would be a good levels for us to long everything again, because there is a very high likelihood that the price is going to dump. Sorry, the USD dominance is going to dump from the highs to the lows like this, and maybe even lower as well to 4.9 to 4.88%. So that's what the USD dominance can do actually. So I think at this point the levels is 4.33 to 4.39% is a good levels for us to long everything back, especially alts and Ethereum, as well as AI coins can have that one more rally. So basically this is the levels where we should be aiming to long. Now that the February is also coming to an end, now this can be like this was the lows, and this is already we can just flip it up and just go, but that don't make sense. We need a more bigger accumulation actually. Once you get an accumulation like here, once we get an accumulation like this, then we can look for a bigger manipulation and then expansion. So I think the best for the USD DOM would be to pump from here to 5.3%. Logically, this is how the bullish checkmate plays out actually. This is how normally it plays out. So that's what our today's plan is. Let's talk about, the signal is printing on the USD DOM basically. So the USD dominance, okay, the signal went. Why is that happen? I don't know. Ideally it should not go this way, because I just updated actually the bugs. We will see. Talking about link, as I mentioned yesterday as well, I think link is looking good. I mentioned yesterday, and I on the 15 minutes time frame as well as on the 1 hour time frame, if you see here on the link, we are likely doing some sort of a very interesting head and shoulder sort of a pattern. So if that is the case for link, actually we really need to hold the levels of 17.97 on Binance, Bybit 17.85 or 17.9. So we hold here, and I think link can do something like this, maybe a bearish retest, something like this, and forms a very interesting head and shoulder. If Bitcoin decides to dump, of course link is gonna do then probably dump to 16.5. So if you have longed here, we also had a support resistance algo on 1 hour time frame, which was like 21 rockets at 17.7, and if you would have longed there, you would have got a very good scalp as well. Was a good risk reward scalp. So far I think we are still having a resistance, so we really need to flip the levels on link. So a lower term time frame levels for link would be if I just have to look the 4 hours time frame, I think link would run up nicely once we see a concrete flip of $18 on 4 hour candle. So now if you look at here, 2 consecutive candles is not gonna work because we are in a downtrend. So what we need to see is earlier how many candles was an average that link hold above these levels. So if you see here, every time we have gone to these levels, we have seen a flip of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you want at least four candle flip of above $18. So we need to see that the price keeps on holding above $18 for 4 consecutive 4-hour candle. And once that happens, it's just going to run up as well. But once it starts losing that $18, I think Link is then probably going to see one more sweep of the lows towards 17.05 to $16.5 levels for a retest of these highs. That's going to be like a flush actually to 16.5. So if you're riding longs, ride with the stop under $18, so that you don't we really don't want to ride anything without any stop loss, guys. Don't do that sort of a mistake actually. So Bitcoin printed 15 minutes signal actually. Let us watch. What did we print? Wow, everything is turning red, and for the first time I think Bitcoin have printed the sell signal in this range actually. I think it's for the first time, or what? Yeah, it's like almost like a first time that we are seeing on 15 minutes the trend is shifting right now. So what we really want to see at this point, the invalidation for this whole thing would be $51,175. So once Bitcoin starts flipping 51,175 with 3 consecutive close or 2 consecutive close above this, it's going to invalidate this sell signal. Clearly everything have turned red actually, as you can see. Basically the RSI EMA is bearish, RSI BB is red, it's bearish, EMA flip is bearish, price EMA flip is bearish, RSI 50 is red actually. Yeah, RSI 50 is red, which is a good sign because it clearly indicates that RSI is still above 50, and if you really want to short, it's a good sign that it can be a good risk reward short actually. 15 minutes SR algo, yes, that's what we are watching, my friend. On 15 minutes Bitcoin gave a sell signal. The invalidation levels would be 51,174.2 with the 3 consecutive close above that levels, and this signal is going to invalidate. But if you look here, we have a liquidity on a downside, so practically this is a good signal actually. And if you look at the 15 minutes time frame, even the momentum has started curling back inside, going into the bear territory actually. The volume is going very low actually. I think this sell signal makes sense actually. Let's see what the 1 hour has to say. So 15 minutes have started turning red. 1 hour is yet to flip under 50,990. It's still holding up, so practically 1 hour is still yet to turn basically bearish. But overall 15 minutes, the lower term time frame have turned bearish actually, which is in my view, as I mentioned, the invalidation of this signal would be 51,174. But do remember guys, as I mentioned, despite of the fact that it has given a sell signal, and historically even after this sell signal happened on here actually, if you see on around 18th of Feb, we did got a nice move on the downside, but then that move was like reversed as well. So let's see, even if you want to get a move, maybe we can go to 50,700 or 50,000, maybe just sweep the lows and go towards 50,300 and maybe reverse back. But yes, this sell signal is a valid one. Let's see how this is going to play out. I'm not shorting anything honestly, as I mentioned, because even though the system suggests that we should short, but I would not like to short it, the discount range actually, because it's like as a trader, I won't short it actually. Yes, I will be cautious because we got a sell signal. I won't short it. I will short only once it goes under this green line, green zone. That's like a discount zone, ladies and gentlemen. And also I would like to thank each and every one of you. We have been chosen by a Mad Honey NFT community as their partner in providing analysis on the market in their for their community members, those who are the bear holders, actually the mad honey holders. And I think this is going to be a big leap for us in my view. So we are growing, guys, and thanks a lot for being with us. This is all what I have for today's stream. Let's see what we can get. Yes, also have a look at LDO. I don't want to miss that LDO thing, because Bitcoin dominance is still bearish, as you can see, which means that alts have a good scope of running back up. If you look at the LDO is looking good in my view. Yesterday also I mentioned, for the first time on the daily time frame, as you can see, yesterday closing LDO, RSI, EMA, today, sorry, RSI, EMA have turned green, is turning green. BB is neutral, EMA is flipping, price EMA is green again, RSI is red, which means that RSI is still above. So if we are closing LDO today this way with all the things, mostly all the things are green, I think that the LDO can give us a good impulsive move on an upside. Talking about the lower term time frame on 1 hour on LDO, despite of the fact that we are having a sell signal over here on LDO, for the first time we got that sell signal. But after that sell signal, so it happened here at 3.097, but the LDO is now flipping above this levels of 3.12. So if LDO gets another 2 candle close above this, and we are trying to flip back the 3.189, this sell signal is likely going to invalidate. But overall, I think LDO is looking good. At this point, let's see if Bitcoin don't dump. LDO can give us a good move on an upside. I'm just counter trading sometimes. Sometimes it helps. So if you draw the trend line over here on LDO, you see we got a breakout with a huge volume. Yesterday we were discussing with Arslan, and I also mentioned what we need is a flip. We need a flip on LDO of these, of this red zone that we have on support resistance algo. We have 15 rockets, 3.18 is the levels we want it to flip. So once we flip it on 1 hour, this sell signal is going to invalidate. So till we don't flip, this sell signal is still valid. So I'm simply going to wait for LDO. It's turning good to me, actually. Very clean breakout so far. Once it flips, I think we should be definitely looking to long on LDO, because I have a very nice reason to believe that this was like your very interesting range highs over here. This was like a range highs, and this is like a range lows over here. So that was the deviation that we had. A deviation on an upside. The price retested the range lows at 3.08, and now we are going to have an equilibrium around 3.19 to 3.21 as well. The volumetric candle on the yes, it is supporting. Basically the volumetric candle is green. Basically we got a breakout with a huge volume, which means that it supports. So till but we really need to flip this. Once LDO flips it, guys, these levels, as I mentioned, of 3.18 on 1 hour candle, this red turns green. Actually, once it turns green, you can just simply long it here with your stops under the red line, and you can target at least the highs of for 2 hour setup to 3.47, and it can even go much higher actually. So just wait a little bit. Once it flips, you go. FET, guys, I think FET is coming to a good levels. 0.95 is what I'm aiming for FET, but we are already at a good levels actually on 1 hour time frame. If you look at even the 15 minutes time frame, let me just have a look at the daily first. I really would want to buy FET because we are at a support. We are backtesting the support. 99 cents is what the levels for FET is like a big support, 99 cents. So Honestly, I think if we are holding here, 99 cents is holding, we can just test it probably 96 cents, like a, what do you say, it's going to be like just a retest. And once that happen, just look at the 15 minutes time frame as well. Yeah, the things are slowly, gradually turning back green. RSI EMA, RSI BB. The flip is the only thing which is pending. Rest things are turning green over here with a good bounce as well on FET. Almost like 1.7% bounce, because we just hit the naked POC on the daily time frame on FET. I think we really need to wait a little bit once even the 1 hour time frame starts flipping back the range lows on FET, which is around 1.025. Once we flip it back, I will give you long on FET, because it makes sense to long FET at that point of time. For 3 white soldiers, the body need to cover the previous week. Can you have the theory, my friend? Because the theory doesn't actually says that it needs to cover a wick. Theoretically, it needs to just close above the previous body actually for 3 white soldiers. So honestly, I mean, that's what I have learned in my trading career actually. But if you have a theory where it says that in a very and in fact I can show you as well or probably you can read the book actually, the Japanese book, what was the name actually, I forgot. You can also have a look into that. It is clearly mentioned. There was nothing mentioned about a wick actually. It was all about the body. So that's what that's why I consider this is a valid for me actually. Now it's up to you. I mean, if you go with the wick, that's fine, but logically this clearly indicates that that the price is in a bullish uptrend. We are closing above the opens and above the close, which is good actually. It is really, really good. Now let's see how are we going to close the daily as well. We will see. If we are closing an engulfing candle, then yes, there is a likelihood that this 3 white soldier is going to get negate with this engulfing candle. But this is valid for me, my friend. If you think it's invalid, probably if you can share your material where you learn that wick is needed, it would be very helpful for me as well to update my knowledge as well for the 3 white soldiers. Overall, I think this is what I have for today's stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let's wait and watch as to how we get Bitcoin on 1 hour time frame as well as the 4 hours time frame. How are we going to flip is this 51,174 and 51,140 on 15 minutes as well as 1 hour time frame. So let's wait and watch. Honestly, I mean, this is the discount zone. Very simply, I just want to keep it. This is the premium zone. Discount zones, you should not be shorting it. But for long, we need a flip. Once it flips, and we're going to be longing as well. A minimum target would be again equilibrium of this range, and once equilibrium of 51,781 is also flipped, it's gonna run back up, in my view, to my target of $53,300 and $54,000 levels. So that's what I have for today's stream, guys. Thanks a lot for joining. Have a nice weekend. In whatever trades I'm going to see, if I get all the confirmations, definitely I'm going to give you. That's all for today. Thanks a lot, guys.